Welcome back, guys. I just want to do this quick video for you guys. All right, it's me, Gio, leader of the Right to Revolution, the realest, the funniest, the handsomest, and the beardedest driver on YouTube. And you know what? For this video, I'm not going to monetize it. I just think, like, ever since I made that video Sunday of me recording the skyline during the sunrise, like, I know it's without a doubt, I am a hard worker. I have a good work ethic. Um, and I'm gonna do some like, and I started thinking about other times where I worked what some would consider an excessive amount. And I've done this many, many times over the course of my adult life where, I put in 3, 4, 5 weeks straight of work. Um, and the only thing that I was upset about was not getting more time to work. I'm trying. I want to. I think I don't know if it's something genetic. Is there something up like because I've had lazy spells. I've definitely had lazy spells. I was definitely lazy as fuck as a teenager. Like I was definitely pretty lazy in my early 20s, but it's you know, or is it more of like if I have a goal in mind, am I going to chase that goal relentlessly? Or do I just have a pressing need to stay busy, to stay productive? Or do I just love staying busy and staying productive? I don't know. I really need to. I've been thinking about that nonstop the last like day and a half, and I'm not going to monetize the video because it's not rideshare related. Really, it's just a look back in time at something that happened years ago that will kind of just serve as a reminder that I've always just enjoyed grinding. I've always enjoyed hustling. I've never been afraid of working, and I've always welcomed the idea of more work, because I know what it's like to fucking, just struggle. I know what it's like to not have money in the bank, and it's not a good feeling, and I'd rather have a padded bank account than beg, borrow, and steal. That's just me. And we're gonna go back in time to October of, let's go back in time to September of 2013. Okay, in December or September of 2013, I was having a slight flare up of my ulcerative colitis, right? And this is back when I was doing MMA, and my gym shut down. The owner of my gym, Keith Hackney, he decided to get out of his MMA gym, and he um, and I want to go train elsewhere at a competing gym, right? And I was scheduled for a fight at the end of October of that, and the gym shut down in September. So I was still training, even though I haven't talked to the promoter. I was really disorganized back then. I was still training for this fight that I thought I was going to have at the end of October, right? Because I wanted to be ready for it. And I made all the mental preparations. I dieted. I quit drinking. I was training hard. I was working 6, 7 days a week that whole summer, right? And I was ready to go. I was like, I was getting mentally prepared for this fight that's going to happen in like a month and a half. And I was training. And then the first week of October, or the last week of September, I messaged one of my old training buddies on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, dude, have you talked to Rich? I want to make sure I'm fighting at the end of October." He said that event was canceled, but here's his number. So I called the promoter, and he said, "Yeah, that event was canceled." And this was on a Thursday. And he said, "Do you want to fight next weekend?" And at which point, because I was dieting and I was trying to get down to welterweight, which was 170 pounds. At this point in time, I think I was like 179 pounds. So I thought to myself, like, hell yeah, right? I'll fight it. Well, I'll fight at middleweight because he said you could fight at middleweight next week if you want to fight. And I was like, well, that works because then I could still keep on training and I don't have to keep on dieting, right? So I said absolutely. Uh, the next night I went out with some friends and I got some I got some waffles, And and then he said, okay, if you want to take this fight, then you have to go get your blood tested and all that stuff. So I did I got all the paperwork I need to do. I got my physical, I got my blood tested, and then the Friday before the fight, we all had to meet at this compound in Elmhurst to kind of like to meet with doctors and all that stuff and get weighed in. And I went to the place to get weighed in, and we handled all the paperwork, and I got cleared to fight. And I remember so if you miss weight, your opponent can agree to not fight you or whatever, or the Illinois Game of Fighting Commission or Athletic Commission they could withdraw your availability to fight, right? So I remember that Friday, like I was a little pissed off because I knew I was gonna make weight. I didn't weigh myself that day, so I'm like, I starved myself that Friday, right? Just to make sure that I weighed in and I was good to go. You're allowed 1 pound over, so I was supposed to be 185 pounds. I weighed in. I was like 185.3, good to go. I bullshitted with some of the other fighters a little bit, and then I went home, got some rest because I knew I was gonna have a long day. I had a fight the next day, right? Um, and we're gonna show you. So this is embarrassing. This is me from 5 years ago. I was in good shape back then. This is what I look like without a beard, without hair, with less tattoos, and way more free time to train and work out and all that stuff, and monitored my diet way closer. Um, and yeah, and keep in mind. Oh, this is one thing I forgot to mention. So at this date in time, I haven't had a day off of work in 2 weeks. So I worked 7 days straight, and keep in mind I was working 6 days a week before that. So um, I was working 6 days a week or 7 days a week leading up to this fight, right? So that Saturday, thankfully, I had a pretty light day at work because the promoter said you have to be at the venue at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or they might lock me out. And I was like, well, I fucking can't guarantee I'll be able to work that early. He's like, well, you gotta try to make it, right? So I got out of work at like 1 o'clock. I just barely made it to the venue at the time he told me to be there. No one else was there. Uh, I was one of the first ones there, and I'm like, well, that's fucking perfect, right? So I got there. I waited around. I just bullshitted with whoever other fighters I knew, in passing, and that's all I could do for a few hours. I didn't even know who was going to corner me that night. It was so disorganized, and it was my fault. I was completely disorganized that night, right? I didn't call anyone. Uh, like I didn't call my friends to tell them to come watch you fight. I think it was so disorganized. It was a mess, and so then I get there, and it starts getting more crowded at this point, and there's a really really bad rainstorm that night. Horrible thunderstorm, and all this is going on, and I remember I was the fourth fight on the card, right? Me and my opponent was going to be the fourth fight for a middleweight fight, and I can't help but think like something's going wrong. Like I'm not seeing dozens of fighters like I'm seeing on on this roster card, right? And I remember I'm standing there next to my corner man. I'm like, what do I get the feeling that I'll be fighting way sooner than I think? And he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, right? So then before we get to the dressing room to start getting changed, and I'm stretching. I've been stretching for an hour and a half because um, for some crazy reason during this time of my life, I was very prone to like getting cramps in my hamstrings and my hips. And the last thing I wanted was to get in a fight, be locked in a cage with a guy, and then get a hamstring cramp and then tap out for no reason. So I was stretching for an hour and a half. I'm stretching during like this meet thing. We had to meet with the refs with the Illinois Athletic Commission and all stuff. And I'm the only guy looking like an idiot in the back stretching because I'm so afraid I'm gonna get a cramp or rip something or tear something. So I'm stretching like crazy as we're going in the back to get dressed or to get changed, to get wrapped up, get your hands wrapped up. The promoter comes up to me and says, "Hey, Gio, you're the second fight, by the way." I'm like, I knew it. So that gives me even less time to prepare. So we go into the back. My corner man starts taping up my hands, right? and I'm trying to stay calm because I'm a little nervous because this is my second fight, by the way. My first fight ended me getting knocked out horrifically. So I'm starting to get the pre-fight jitters are starting to come in, and I'm starting to get scared, and I'm just like I'm starting to get nervous, but I'm still trying to maintain my sense of humor. I'm still trying to joke around my corner man, and then I get a phone call, but I'm not getting a phone call on my cell phone. I'm getting a phone call on my work phone, and I already know what that means. That means my boss wants me to come into work tomorrow. It's like 6:15 at night at this point. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, "Do you need me to come in tomorrow?" He's like, "Yeah." I explained to him, "Dude, I'm getting my hands wrapped up right now. I've got a fight in about 20 minutes." And he said, "You didn't tell me you were fighting tonight." I was like, "Well, I am. Kind of a last minute thing. I'll tell you what, if I don't get knocked out, I'll come into work tomorrow." And he kind of laughed and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I said, if I don't get knocked out, I'll come into work. And I'm getting my hands wrapped during this time, and my corner man's laughing. He's like, "You're seriously gonna go to work tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not, right?" Like Sundays, typically at my old job, Sundays were pretty easy. I could usually come into work around 6 and maybe be done by like 11, right? Screen's blacking out here. Is this recording? It'd be embarrassing if it wasn't recording. Yeah. Okay. So, hands getting wrapped up, right? I haven't even met my opponent yet, which you don't have to. It's not, you don't exactly have to, but some of the other fighters that were fighting against each other, sometimes they'll kind of like, friendly up to each other and just hang out before their fights, which is, whatever. Um, and I'm still concerned about like my hamstrings and my hips feel super tight. I'm just like, I'm going to get a cramp. I know it. So I asked the first guy, I was like, the first fight just started. It was a huge jacked white guy versus a huge jacked black guy. And part of me really wants to watch this fight because it looks like it's going to be interesting. But I need to stretch and I need to get like mentally ready for this fight, right? So I'm stretching, I'm stretching, I'm stretching. And then it sounds like this is I haven't seen I haven't seen the second of the current fight that's happening. The third round starts, and at this point, I'm on my feet because the crowd is going nuts. There's like 500 people in this field house, and I want to see what's going on, right? Apparently, I'm missing a very exciting fight. The third round starts. They touch gloves, they meet in the middle, and then the huge black dude starts just teeing off on this white. I mean, just like it was just one just haymaker after another. And the white dude, no joke, is just kind of he's looking like a walking punching bag. He's just getting rocked on his feet, just boom, boom. It looks like something out of a movie. He's just getting just teed off on, right? At which point, the inner MMA fan in me is just like, yeah, get him, right? And and then the white guy gets his senses back for a split second, and he shoots for a takedown, takes down the black dude, and then me and everyone else watching in unison were just like, oh, because we thought this dude was about to get laid out like horrifically, right? And he was probably about to. So I'm watching this fight. I'm looking at the cage. There's a screen over yonder, and I'm seeing everything. I got the best view from where I'm standing. And I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing these two wrestle around. They're scrambling. They're both very tired at this point. And the white guy he's got the black dude in his full guard, and the black dude wraps up the Kimura, and there's maybe a minute left in this fight. He wraps up a Kimura, and the white dude taps out. The fight's over. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll be like, okay, I'm getting ready. I'm about to walk out to this fight I'm going to be in this cage in the next 30 seconds, right? So I'm just trying to stay loose. I'm trying to stay relaxed. I'm still worried about my hips. I'm still worried about my hamstrings. This is going on. And then, this story's like getting long. And this is probably the most exciting part of this story is what I'm about to tell. It's not exciting, but it's just kind of funny. So I'm standing there and I'm trying to stay loose. I can't help but notice my opponent is like maybe 5 feet to the right of me. And he's kind of done. He was trying to stay loose too, and then he kind of like stopped moving because I noticed the people didn't come get us for our fight yet. And then I'm standing there. I look over. I look back at the cage, and the guy that lost, the white guy, is in the middle of the cage. He's just laying there like this, like just He's not moving. He's just laying there, covered in blood. Whole face just covered in blood. Whole body covered in blood. Um, and I can't help but think to myself, this guy looks dead. He literally looks like a dead body in the middle of the cage, right? And at which point my corner man comes up to me because he hasn't seen what happened yet. And he's like, "Are we going out soon?" I'm like, "I don't know. This fight just ended 3-4 minutes ago. This guy hasn't moved." And my corner man's like, and he looks over because he can't see what's going on in the cage anymore because it's too low. So he's looking at like the big screen in the back, and he's standing there, and I love this guy. He's so funny. He's super dry sense of humor, and he's like that guy looks dead, and I'm like, yeah, that's honestly that's kind of because at this has been 4 or 5 minutes of this guy just laying there like not moving an inch, just covered in blood. And I'm like, he's been laying like that for 5 minutes, no joke. Then some other random fighters walking past us, and then he looks over and he sees this guy, and he's like, "Hey, is that guy dead?" Right? Because he's still, this is maybe 6 or 7 minutes has gone by, and he's still just like not moving, right? And then the other guy asked me, he's like, "How did he lose?" And I said, "Kimura." And then he asked me, if he lost from a Kimura, why does it look like he's been beaten to death? And I was like, I don't know. He got beat up really bad in the beginning of the round. I don't know. And then all this is going on. Several other people are walking past me, not paying attention. Pro fighters, the ones who are professionally ranked. And then they look at the screen, they look at me, and they're like, is that guy dead? I'm just like, I'm fairly certain he's alive. I don't know. So after maybe 12 minutes, of this, sorry guys, someone's blowing up my, so they finally get the guy out of the cage. He's alive, and they had to clean up this puddle of blood that he left in the middle of the cage. So after that, it came to fight time, right? Finally, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to fight. Because you know what the crazy part is? I was laughing at this guy's expense, and I felt like more comfortable. I felt I didn't have the same jitters I had leading up to the fight before. So it was fight time, and I still remember. You know what's funny about fighting is it's such a weird like. Fighting is weird because I really enjoyed fighting. Like I've only had 2 fights. This is my second fight. It's such a surreal feeling to be in a fight because it's kind of therapeutic in its own weird way. Because when you're in an actual fight, when you know you're going to be in a fight and you're in a fight, nothing else matters. You're in this contained bubble, right? Like nothing outside this bubble matters except for what you're doing and your opponent and trying to win this fight. And it's such a weird, surreal experience. And I wish I would have kept doing it, but got some health issues along the way. And it was just like, it's so funny to be horrifically out of breath after a fight and still just like I was thrilled after this fight was over. We went the distance. I didn't get knocked out in this one like in the first one. But that's me, as you guys see in this picture, that's me labeling my opponent with a stiff jab. I had a really good jab back in the day. Yeah, I might still have it. I don't know. But yeah, so I gave this guy, I lit him up on the feet. He was way better. His wrestling was much better than mine. So he kind of took me down at will. But whenever we were standing up, I was beating the crap out of him. I was hitting him with heavy jabs, big leg kicks, and I'll show you some of the other pictures we have here. There we go. That might be from the first round. No, I don't think this is from the first round right here. So this is, I think, his first takedown of me. This is early on in the round. Yeah, the first round was pretty much me landing a few strikes on him for the first 30 seconds, and then him controlling me from the top the whole first round. So that was the first round. This, I believe, was the second. Yeah, this had to be the second round. Also, nothing too interesting happened here for the first minute and a half. He took me down, and then we stood back up, and I did manage to clinch him a little bit. And that's this picture here. Uh, it's a weird feeling when you like hit someone hard. I remember I gave this. This isn't the picture where I gave him the knee, but I gave him a big knee, and just like I remember hearing him just like, oh, right. It's such a weird, and because he got me good a few times too. Like, and that's the guy's blood on the floor. um, it's it's such a. I'm not saying everyone should jump in a cage and fight, but like all these memories, all these emotions are so like intimate, and you just never forget them, and it's such a great feeling. And this was the end of the second round. I used to have a very, I mean, the second round was broken up in two parts. He had me on my back half of the first round. The other half of the or half of the second round. The other half of the second round was me holding him up against a cage, beating him a bit. And this was like the last 3 seconds of the fight. I lifted him up and I was about to slam him down, and then I slipped. I think he might have been grabbing the cage, which might have been why I slipped. But I was about to fuck his whole world up. But man, you could just see the you could see the intensity there. Look at that vein there. Because he had a tight grip on my neck, and I was about to fuck him up. So that happened, and then this was the beginning of the third round. He shot in. He had like a lazy shot, and I wrapped him up for guillotine. And we were so sweaty, it just slipped out, and then that was it. The rest of the fight was just us grappling on the mat for another 2 minutes, and then the fight ended. And where's the other picture? So go back to there we go. So that was the end of the fight. Mikey won, hard fought victory. It was really funny. After the fight, we were taking pictures with each other, and we're getting to know each other a little bit. And then I told him, I said, "Hey, I'll be right back." I went to my bag, got my phone, I called my boss, and I said, "Hey, dude, I'll be at work tomorrow." He's like, "So I take it you didn't get knocked out?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." So I completed a fight. I called my boss. I got cleaned up. I said bye to some of the fighters. I went back and I said personally goodbye to this guy. I said I thanked him for the fight, and got $25 worth of drive-through from Portillo's. Drove home, fell asleep, and the very next day I went to work. And I didn't have a day off until the following Sunday. So for nearly a month straight, I worked every single day, had a fight, went to work the next day after a fight, and still continued to keep working. Um, I just think, some of us are just machines. Some of us just, no matter what you throw at us, we'll just keep working. Some of us enjoy working. Some of us enjoy staying busy, enjoy staying productive. If I was in fighting shape right now, which I'm not, definitely not, and someone said, "Hey, we need you to come fight tonight. Would you be available?" And I'd be like, "Well, I got work in the morning, but yeah, I guess I can do that. I guess I can come fight." Some of us, some of us just love staying busy, love staying productive, love making money, and enjoy pushing ourselves. That's If I had the time to train, and maybe if I got the surgery on my shoulders to fix the tendonitis, I would love to be able to train and, maybe casually, have a couple fights here and there again. Right now, I'm just not physically able to do it. I would definitely give up the time to do it if I was able to. But I miss it. I do. But it just goes to show you some of us, like I said, some of us are just machines, and we'll just, I didn't complain during the course of the training. I didn't complain about having to work because I signed up for the fight and I was committed to it, and I did it. That's, like I said, this video is fucking super long, and I'm sorry for that, but I just wanted to tell you guys, maybe it's a mindset, maybe it's something that's dug in there deep, maybe it's genetic. I don't know, but some of us, you don't have to be concerned with how much work some of us are doing. Maybe be concerned with how much work you're doing. Right? And I know my mentality, telling everyone to get off your lazy ass and work more, that's going to fall on deaf ears. I get it. Um, but those of you that are listening to me, those of you that get it, you'll definitely see the benefit. You'll reap the benefits of hard work and commitment and wanting to stay busy, want to stay proactive, want to stay productive. You'll definitely see results, but you gotta keep at it. Simple as that. And that's all I got, guys. I want to thank y'all for this long-winded video. It's probably one of my longest ones yet, and just a little story time. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you guys later. So until next time, get out there, guys. Stay hungry, stay driven, stay bearded, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye bye.